forward and go ahead and take it away.
Okay, welcome to Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit. We are an international multi-day event, and we are pleased today. Well, before we start, make sure to mute your phone so you're not distracted. And just as a caveat, we have a little offer at the end of this presentation. But today I want to introduce Luis Camejo. And so welcome, Luis. We're
Thank you, Bonnie.
thrilled today to have you here. And we're looking forward to hearing about your 45 Live story and how you started to publish. And, but really, for a lot of people, how you saved your business this year. And you're going to introduce us to what you call the publishing pyramid, bringing content into profit. And that's going to be really interesting, I know. In addition, you're going to share all the secrets to how to framework and make this happen in our businesses. So take it away, Luis.
That's right, Bonnie. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm extremely excited to share the message. And, for those who don't know, my name is Luis. I'm from Venezuela. It's normally two of us here. There's also my brother, who's also Luis, which is very weird. Same first name, middle name is a little different. And, we work in the entrepreneurial field. We help entrepreneurs multiply their message and turn that content into profit, right? And that's, I think, most people want to kind of know how to do that. But since we started this whole journey, we actually had no idea how to turn the content into profit, right? And it's man, how can we be selling this thing as a product, as a service agency, if we haven't really gone through the process ourselves? So we migrated from Venezuela about 10 years ago to come to college here. We're big soccer players. I'm not sure if we have a soccer ball here around. We should have it because it becomes part of the story. But, that was the dream. And well, we always felt that itch, right? Inside of us of doing something different, being entrepreneurial. And I think a lot of people coming to this event might feel that way, right? They might be starting their coaching business. They might start consulting with other people. And at the end of the day, that's building a business. So we always had that itch, and we always okay, what do we do? And I remember as a young, I guess, entrepreneur that I didn't know that was the word. We will go out and we'll buy these t-shirts, soccer jerseys in this market in our city. And then we'll go to our school and upsell it for we'll buy it at $5 and then we'll sell it for 50, right? And then we'll make this awesome profit and we'll have this money to go around. So that itch started at a very, very young age. And then we come here to the States and we start going to school. I will go to business school in Florida, entrepreneurship. And we started learning all these tricks on how to build a business. And as soon as I graduated, a lot of my college friends, they were like, hey, I'm not really happy in my corporate job. I don't know if this is a fit. And that kept coming up. There are a few people that liked what they were doing, but not a lot of people. And I'm like, if the majority of the people think that way, I don't know if that's the route for me, right? And so I'm like, okay, how can we start creating something interesting and build our business, which we had no idea who we were going to help, who we were going to what we were going to sell, and so on. So our roommate comes in one day and he's like, guys, I have the idea. I have this massive idea. And it's, let's start a sticker company. And we're like, sweet, let's do it. This happened about 6 years ago. And we had no idea about stickers. We had no idea how to sell stickers. We had no idea how to produce any of this or how to create the stickers. No idea. Right. So we're jumped in at this entrepreneurship journey, I guess, or new company that we started to create. We registered, we had the name. It was 6 foot Southern because our roommate is so tall and he's from the south in the country. And that's how we started. But guess what? As soon as we started, we created the whole product, which for some consultants or coaching can be the coaching program, right? But then nobody knew about us. Nobody knew who we were. So we started cold calling people. We started going out to local businesses and showing the stickers that we were creating and naming all the features and stuff. And nobody will return our calls. Nobody will get an order. So fast forward a month and we end up in Orlando in this crazy conference. where a lot of manufacturers go there to sell their products to a lot of stores. So we went posing as a store to buy these things, but the idea was to learn from these guys and see how they were selling and stuff. And again, no idea what we were doing. So my roommate comes from that event, super motivated, and he's like, guys, instead of stickers, we should do t-shirts. We should print t-shirts. And we're like, sweet, let's do it, right? And up to that point, we sold maybe like $50 worth of stickers. So we invested in this like massive screen printing machine that we put in the garage of the house. For those that don't know, Florida weather is pretty hot. It's like summer is like 95 degrees, 80% humidity, and that might not be the best weather to screen print t-shirts, right? So we also learned everything about the process. We learned about the inks and the benefits and all this stuff. So we will go out and try to sell this stuff, but nobody will buy. Nobody will know who we were. There was no social media presence. There was no content around it. And they were like researched us, right? What we call now the safety net effect. And nobody would like find out who we were. And because we weren't building that trust, because we weren't building that rapport, it was really challenging for us to develop relationships that ended up being what we call now a frictionless sale. So we learned very quickly that we did not enjoy the process of screen printing t-shirts. We did not have the capital to hire somebody to do that for us, or understood that is very valuable. So we decided to drop it. So we sold the screen printing machine. We sold that. We're like, the lesson is, if you don't enjoy the process, don't do it. So I really, really hope that, whatever product that you're jumping on to start educating, indoctrinating people in your form or your business, you really, really enjoy it, because that's the first step, right? So after that, we're like, man, what do we do? So it's my brother and me and sitting down in a kitchen. And I was reading at the time a book called The One Thing. And I think I have it here. This guy, The One Thing, right? And we're like, what is the one thing that we're actually good at, right? And around soccer, but we're like, we didn't see soccer as a viable business at the time. And so we're like, what about social media? We're on social media every single day. I think we're good at it. Spoiler alert, we were not good at it. So we're like, sweet. So we see this online course, they were selling the dream life, the laptop life. My brother was a big fan of that. I'm not going to lie, I was tempted. I'm like, okay, well, I want the Lambo, I want this and that. We don't do anymore, which is fine. But that sold us right into this like course, start your social media marketing agency, where, you can do the laptop thing. And we're like, oh man, that's so awesome. So the thing cost about $1,000 that we didn't have. We're like, you know what? Let's put it on the credit card. Worst case scenario, we owe $1,000, and then we figure out how to get it. And so we did. So we invested this money, and I think it was like we saw 3 out of like 20 something models, and immediately we went out and tried to sell the social media marketing agencies services. So we went out to different restaurants and we started selling. We will go take pictures. We invested in a camera. We invested obviously in the phone, right? So we will go out, take pictures of the entire restaurant and create content for them, and then post it on social media. That was the whole service. It was about $500. You see us now, you see us the show. We're always in t-shirts. We're super open about everything. But at the time, we will go out and sell like in these like suits. So we will put out this like persona, like, if you look at me now, I do have a baby face. There's a reason I have a beard. But if I shave, I look like 15. I'm 31, right? So my brother, same thing. So, these 2 kids like wearing a suit and just like being somebody different, right? And so we started to understand that authenticity through not only the content, but through the meetings. So the people that you're meeting can also work as a filter for you to spread your message and then get that person that's actually interested in either your content, your product, or the relationship that you guys want to build. So we're completely opposite of what we are really doing. And we're selling this thing based on features, right? And it was really challenging because when you sell through features, instead of stories, which is what our content is based off right now, it's really challenging because the business owner or somebody out there might not be as convinced because they don't feel it like you do, right? You never describe that on the conversation or the content that you're using to promote. So we had a lot of friction, not only in the sale process, but the relationship. We're always trying to convince. We will say, hey, that person needs it. Hey, that person is not doing the right thing. They need it, right? But the key word here is like do they actually want it, right? Because they might need it, but if they don't want it, it's really challenging to make the transaction and then operate without any friction whatsoever. So what we started to do was incorrectly convince people to get on our service. And then through that, the relationship was really rocky. So we started encountering a lot of friction. From there, we transitioned into creating these videos because everybody kept asking us, hey, you guys do content? And we're like, yeah, can you guys do this video? And well, we don't actually do that kind of content. We do like the social media kind of content, but we don't want that. You know, we want the videos. So we're like, okay, sweet. So we invested in a couple cameras and we started creating these videos. Long story short, we started offering different services. You know, everybody that will say yes to us, we will be like, absolutely. And then we'll turn it around and research it. Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? The result of that was that we ended up providing like 7 different services. There's no processes. There was no team. It was really challenging because we were selling based on features and not based on stories and feelings. And we were trying to convince them instead of them telling us this is what I want. And yeah, that led us to very poor relationship with our clients. So fast forward a couple of years, yes, a couple of years we're going through this. It was really, really painful. We decided that we were going to transition, right? We started investing in a coach. So bless you guys, coaches that are here. You guys are going to make your clients' life a lot easier. So we decided to invest in our coach, and we had to basically strip our services and decide of what is the one thing that we're actually going to do. So keep in mind, up to this point, we were creating a lot of content for our clients, nothing for us. Our social pages were completely empty. There was nothing in there. So, you know, somebody will research the bistros. There was nothing out. Like we were ghosts pretty much while we were selling this thing, right? The content. Pretty ironic. So we decided that we were going to focus on just the content. We're not going to do sales letters. We're not going to do email campaigns. We're not going to do landing pages. We're not going to do funnels. And, you know, we work in the direct response marketing world. And it was really tough because we're like, man, we don't really want to really niche down with one type of client. Everybody's like niche down, like just help one specific type of client. But the truth is, that you can niche down. You can have different types of clients, but you can niche down on the process. And that's what we did. And we decided to create something called the M2M, which is macro to micro, right? And we're going to focus on that very specific type of thing, which in very basic language, I guess, if you have like a long form video, we were going to multiply, we're going to chop it up and create all these awesome pieces of content to multiply your message. So we decided that was going to be a service. That's the thing we're going to do. And so we started going out, same thing, going back and trying to convince people that this is the thing that they wanted, that they needed to do. We will go out with a film crew. We will film the entire thing. We will film like 4 days worth of content that for them, it translated in like 4 months worth of content. And then we execute, but we had to educate these people through the process. So when they were in front of the camera, we had to teach them what to say, how to say it, what are the stories, but they were not convinced. That's not exactly what they wanted. And we kept repeating that same mistake, right? They needed it, right? Because they need to be on social. They needed to multiply their message. We're saving them time on creating content. They needed it. But at the same time, they didn't want it. And we had to convince them to get there. And that's not the spot you want to be. You want to be in a spot where they come to you and they're like, dude, Luis, this is exactly what I want. So we're starting to encounter all this pressure and friction. And we're like, how do we solve this? And we were looking back at our social media and there's like nothing in there. Still, we're not practicing what we preached. And it was really hard because we had this one day that we go into this meeting. If we close that client, it was about 9 locations of the local town that we lived. And it was going to be really good. We were going to be able to hire somebody. We were going to be able to, expand the team, maybe by 3 people. It was going to save us a ton of time. And we're in the middle of this presentation and they're like, hey, Luis, kind of like the lead person there. I love what you guys do with these clients. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Internally, I'm like, yes, we got this. And it's like, but it's pretty interesting that you guys don't do that with you, like with your own accounts, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You guys don't publish. And we're like, oh, at that moment, I felt like the floor would like just open and like swallow me like entirely. Yeah, really scary. And they're like, so level of trust went from here all the way to the ground. And he's like, I don't really know if this is the thing that either we need or want, right? Because if you believe so much in your product, why you guys are not either using it or producing content for yourselves? And at the time, it was a problem of capacity, right? And we're gonna get to that in the publishing pyramid in just a second. But it was a problem of capacity. We didn't have the capacity to execute in our clients and ourselves. But we recognize that publishing was so important because it builds the rapport, it builds the trust, it builds a safety net when people go research you, right? Like think about when you go to a restaurant, it's they tell you, hey, that restaurant, that taco restaurant, my wife loves tacos. I don't too much, but I'll eat them for her because I love her. She was like, hey, Luis, I discovered this new restaurant. We should go eat tacos. And the first thing that we all do is grab our phones, right? And scroll through either the pictures or the information that's in there to see if that's actually a place that we want to go to. We call that the safety net content, right? It's like, it's there. Doesn't matter if there's engagement, doesn't matter if there's comments, it doesn't matter, but it's there for people when they find out about you, they go research you. That's what people do every single time. Think about the things that you've done. Like it cannot be food, maybe services, maybe pet stores, maybe like everything, right? So that's why it's so important to be consistent, right? And we were not being consistent. So we get back to the office and we sit down at the table and we're like, man, like we just lost this big thing. Like, is this really the thing that we should be doing? Is this really the service that we should be offering? And it started to question ourselves big time. And, the thing is, like, we were actually enjoying the process, right? We learned our lesson with the t-shirts. We're actually enjoying this process. And we're like, okay. So the only thing that they said was, because we work with content and you guys don't have content, that's why we're not clients. So we're like, we need to have content out there. We need to be out there, right? And it felt really intimidating because there's so much stuff out there. It's like the content calendars, the type of content that you create, like what platform, how many, like what do I choose? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, like what is so confusing out there? We didn't really know what to say because we didn't really have a message, right? And so we decided that our only thing that was all causing friction. Those are elements that cause friction for us, preventing us to publish. So we decided that our only metric was going to be consistent, that we needed to put out one piece of content every single day. So once we decided that, we got the bottom of the pyramid, and there should be like a resource page or something where we send out a workbook. But the first step is messaging. And we got to figure out the messaging. So a lot of people, before they even start, or even if you're a coach or you're consulting, the messaging might not be clear at first. And that's okay. We didn't have our message clear at the time, but we needed to start publishing because we needed the safety net effect, right? We needed to go out to these meetings and being able to tell them, hey, for more information, you can go to our page and there's a ton of content out there, right? Just that sense of security, it will help us big time. So we're like, okay, we have the consistency. Now we got to work. We didn't have the consistency. We agreed on the consistency that was like once a week, one day, every single day, basically once a day, one post a day. So we started to work on our messaging, and the way that we decided to do that was 45 days straight of Facebook Lives. And everybody's like, well, you should do 7 to build a habit or 21 to build a habit. We're like, we don't care. We're just going to go for 45. Let's just go all in. And then the question is like, what do I say? Right? Everybody has been there. Like, what do I say? What is my message? And so we decided to apply a very simple framework. We could have planned it out beautiful, but that caused friction. We didn't want to sit down for 3 hours. First off, because we didn't have the time to do that or execute with our clients. Second, it was just going to take a lot of thinking, and we didn't really want to do a lot of that. And we're like, okay, we're just going to tell a story of something that happened today with our clients, with ourselves, with our business, and then we're going to relate it to our service, and then we're going to make an offer as in get in contact with us. So we started to do that. Guess how many days we lasted on the 45 Live first version? So I'm thinking, I don't know if you can see the chat here, but everybody gets it wrong. First off, we didn't finish the 45 days. We did 15. And the reason we did 15 was because we got so much business coming our way that now we had to build the systems and the processes to execute with them while we published. And it was just a combination of staying consistent every single day and with one piece of content which we removed the friction on trying to figure out what to say, how to do it. And for us, we decided that our minimum viable content was going to be one Facebook Live video. That's it. Because as soon as I'm recording it, it's already published. And that was my priority. That was my KPI. That was my key performance indicator, one video a day. And that's what made it super easy. For a lot of people, can be one blog a day, can be one email a day, can be, one little post, one quote card. It doesn't matter, right? Start building your message through that consistency, right? So message, we started to find out through the 45 Live that we were passionate about publishing. We were passionate about doing the Facebook Lives. We were passionate about our clients. And that's exactly the message that we started to portray. And we would tell stories about that. And then at the end, we're like, guys, if you guys are interested in our services or what we do, reach out to us. Guess what? People starting to reach out to us because they're like, man, like those stories, I feel it. I feel it too. I've been there. So they started coming our way and we closed the business. And it was funny because one of the days, day 15, the last day that we actually recorded this video, I was coming home at 11 at night from working all day. And I'm like, man, my baby was 4 months old at the time. And I get home and my wife is like, it's your time to feed the baby, right? I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So I grab the bottle, sit down on the couch, give the bottle to baby Luca. And then I put Luca to bed and it's 11:30 at night. And my brother goes like, dude, you haven't done your video yet. And I'm like, oh man, it's 11:30 at night. And then we go back and we're like, okay, what is the KPI? Just consistency, one a day. It's like, okay, it takes me less than 10 minutes to actually go out and produce this video. I'm just going to tell a story. What story do I tell? Well, that same afternoon, I was coming home. I was on a call with one of the managers of the businesses that we helped. And this guy's like just screaming at me like, Luis, put that post down. And we're like, what post are you talking about? Go to the Facebook page. And we've published this thing that it was very polarizing. Again, another good thing for content we can discuss later, but it was very polarizing. But people that were inside of the studio were defending the post, a video of them talking about this thing. And people from outside of the studio were batching the content. So this thing like went like crazy. It was like 6,000 views in like 3 hours, 300 comments organically. There was no money behind it. But what was awesome was that their community united and created like this amazing trust. And I was like on the phone, like, no, I'm not going to put it down. This is awesome. This is like free advertising for you guys. And then we hung up, right? So I'm all worked up and I'm like, okay, let me tell this story. So I tell the story at 11:30 at night. I stayed consistent, right? Before midnight. And 2 seconds later, my phone rings, right? And I'm like, what? 11:30 at night? Who's texting me? It was almost 12. And it was this guy that I met once in a parking lot. Very weird. And through a course that we invested together. And this guy's like, dude, I just saw that video. That video resonated a lot because I'm going through that. What about, do you want to come to a content dinner tomorrow? And I'm like, absolutely. What is a content dinner? Well, we're going to serve food and then we're going to record it. We're going to, meet a ton of like business owners. And so we jump in and I'm like, absolutely. Well, that dinner, I was able to explain what we did. And that led to an $80,000 yearly contract because of that one piece that we stayed consistent. And he came from a silent watcher, we call him, right? Somebody that sees your content. He's been seeing the videos, never commenting, never liking it, nothing, but you're there, you're top of mind, right? You're repeating your points of contact with your dream customer. And that's what all of that matters. And it was a very basic level as just staying consistent with one Facebook Live video a day. And that created a massive opportunity. And we're like, man, it works. So guess what? Did we continue to do it? No, we actually stopped. And we're like, man. So then we're sharing this story 5 months later, January this year. And people in the conference room, it was like a round table. They're like, why don't you guys continue to do that? And we're like, man, why didn't we like continue to do that? That worked. So we decided to do season 2 of 45 Live. So we started doing it. Same thing. Day 17, we're telling a story of what happened in our business. We're tying it down with a lesson of content creation or content stories, things like that. And then we were attaching it with an offer at the very bottom. So going with the first 2 steps of the publishing pyramid, the message is the same every single day, right? It's content. Second thing is consistency. We were doing it every single day. Again, day 17, we got again another wave of business. Then my brother had to stop, right? Help the team members out that were involved at the time and continue to elevate. And I actually had to finish at 45 days. So this is all beautiful. and perfect and things are going great, but we still had those clients that we convinced to work with us, and there was a lot of friction there. So fast forward a month or so, COVID happened, and we're like, man, we got a call one afternoon. Well, it was multiple calls, and there were people from our business, like the businesses that we work with, and they're like, guys, the city's shutting down. We have to shut down for 4 months. We don't really have the money to pay you. So for the next few months, like there's no paycheck coming your way. I'm like, man, like, okay. I'm like, this is the time that you guys need to freaking create content. You guys need to be publishing. I thought that. I didn't really say it because I was freaking out. And I really thought like the business was going to be done because it was about 85% of our income just kaput in like 1 week. All of the clients that were brick and mortars completely were like that. So we're like, man, okay. So go out, take a walk, come back to the office. My brother's like, look, let's use this opportunity. We have a couple months of runway. Let's dive into publishing big time. At the time, the only publishing that we're doing was creating the Facebook Live video. We were selling our high-end product, which was content repurposing, but we weren't doing, again, the content repurposing for us. And we're like, this is the time to dive in. So what are we going to do? We're actually going to start a podcast show. We're going to do it live. So same thing. We went back to the bottom of the pyramid, messaging, right? That's the base of it. What is the message? Well, the message is content is profit. That's why the show is called that way. Content is profit. Is in your face because I need to attract the person that already believes that content is profit. And then, okay, what's the consistency? Second step on the pyramid, right? What is the consistency that we're actually going to achieve with the show? Well, we're actually going to go live 3 times a week. Why live? Because it forces us to actually go execute. We understood our way of operation. If we didn't put it live, if we didn't do it like that, the episodes were not going to happen because 1.5 years before that, we recorded 5 episodes and those are still at the vault. They were not edited, nothing. So we decided to go live 3 times a week and that's how everything started. So it was incredible what happened. It was just that piece of content. It was the message. It was the same. Content is profit. We'll share stories. We'll tie it down to our business. Immediately, 2 weeks after, people started reaching out. Guys, I want what you want. I don't need it. I want it, right? Going back to the first start, I want the service that you guys offer. I'm like, sweet, let's have a conversation. So we will jump on the sales calls. And in 2 weeks, we've recovered all the sales that we lost in the first 2. And then within a month, we triple sales because of that same reason, because we stay consistent with the show. We were able to increase our capacity, which is step 3 of the pyramid. So we go messaging, consistency, capacity. How did we increase our capacity? Well, the capacity was the time that was allocating to the content creation. At first was just a Facebook Live. But as we started increasing our capacity with our resources, right, we started hiring team members and then they were executing on it. So we started building this amazing machine, right? And then after that is all about resources and scale. So the more I sell, the more resources I get to spread my message, to build my own machine, which is what we did for our own product. In your business, in your coaching business, consulting business, you got to establish that. What are your resources? What's your capacity, right? When it comes to content, what's the capacity that you have to create content? Is it 10 minutes a day? Is it 5 minutes a day, right? Is it 10 minutes a day, but I have a team that can execute that for me? Sweet. Those are things that we need to figure out. So as our capacity increased, our resources also increased, and then we started to scale it to the point that right now, we're super, super proud. Obviously, this was the one strategy that saved our business. We're well over 6 figures now. We have 10 employees, full-time employees, and the agency is flourishing because we are able to attract the dream customer through the message at the bottom of that pyramid. So it was a crazy journey, still is, where I think we are like 9 months into it. The show has 6 months, about to hit 95 episodes. And that's how we've been able to accomplish profit from the content. Everything started with just one Facebook Live video, and then it escalated. So let's recap a little bit on the publishing pyramid. First step is messaging, right? We got to make sure that our message is the right one for the audience. How do I know the message is the right for the audience? Start testing, start publishing, start doing 1 video a day, publish it out there live. I highly, highly, highly encourage Facebook Live because if it was what worked for us, you get feedback at the right time. One of the few things that we get when we start teaching this to our clients or to encouraging people to do this. It's like, well, what if I have one person watching? Well, that's one person that you're helping more than if you didn't publish, right? And keep in mind, those videos stay in there and people can actually see it later. And then what happens is that you start practicing your message, and the growth is not only in your business, but internally, because there's something really interesting when you put your thoughts into your mouth and out. When you start putting your message, it means that you're taking a stand for something. So you're taking a stand for your product. You're taking a stand for your people, for your clients. And that's so important, because then you're going to start relating those stories and you're going to start attracting the people that you really want to work with. So on the guide here, if you guys are able to download it, it says you are one step away from finding your message, but you can't find it on your own. Let your audience like help you. So some golden boulders here on the messaging side of things, which is the base of our pyramid, is like focus on simple. One problem, what solution? What is the one problem that you're solving? What is the solution that you're offering? That way your message will filter your dream clients, right? If it doesn't really resonate, then they can go their way, but it's going to attract that dream client. People don't always remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That's why we're super heavy on stories. Hopefully these stories have been like relatable to you guys. I felt like I was going to lose it many, many times, right? And we share this, and right now, obviously we're in a very good spot, but I'm sure some crazy thing is about to come in our way and we got to be prepared. But also the fact that we're sharing it, we're attracting that because people feel that way. People go through the same situations, and it's super important that we can relate to them at that level, right? Be passionate and vulnerable. I think I've been very passionate about this. If you do not agree, let me know. But we are very passionate about this topic on content, and there's no memory without emotion. So if you're able to cause emotions through your message, right, people will remember that. Super important. So there's a few questions in there on the workbook. So I really, really hope that you guys can download it and go through that yourselves. But then the second step is consistency, right? So with consistency comes opportunity. And this is everything about being top of mind, right? Think about the big people that publish every single time. Why so many commercials out there, right? Why are so many like movie trailers? Why do people invest on YouTube? Is because of points of contact, right? Right now, I think the average is between 8 to 12 points of contact for somebody to make a sale. This is what content allows you to do. And we live in a wonderful time where social media is free. We have free access to this thing and free access to reach out so many people. And it's so incredible that we're able to do it. So make sure that you're consistent every single day. If you don't have the capacity to do every single day, what's your capacity? Is it 3 times a week? Is it 2 times a week? Is it once a week? That's okay, right? Decide on your consistency framework, test it out for 30 days. Like we did it 45 days straight, right? Test it out, put a number out there, commit to it, and see what happens, right? We find out that for us, as many points of contact that we put out there in the world, we can do it. Right now, we're publishing more than 100 pieces of content, different pieces of content every single week. That's a lot of content, right? And it's because we found that as many points of contact that we can create with our dream client, trust will go up, right? They're going to believe us. They're going to see the safety net, and then they're going to reach out. And they're going to be like, guys, how can we work together? And that's exactly what's been happening, right? After that, we can set up different systems and different things to automate it, put some money behind. There's different technical things that we can do, but it starts first with your message, then with your consistency, right? So quality of the message over quality of the production. Don't worry if you have to be like, wait, I encourage everybody to go research me on social media, because you can go see my first videos. They were literally the video that we closed at $80,000 a year client was with my phone at 11:30 at night, dark, with a lamp in there. Doesn't matter, but the message resonated with that person, and that's all we needed to do. So I encourage, go out, try it out. People that unfollow you, good. People that hate on your content and don't follow you back, good. They don't need to be in your world. They don't need to be in your world, because you're in a mission. You're helping your clients. You're helping your people. And that message needs to go out. Let's see. 4th step, capacity. And we're almost over here. I know Bunny's like, am I in a timer?
No, well, yeah, I'm watching, but it's just been so juicy and so much
juicy
content right now, just hearing your story, number one. And then also what I really resonated with your story was the consistency, but your consistency of a message. And as you went out, and then you also were adaptive to and to learning of what's working, what's not working.
Yep, absolutely.
And constantly moving forward. And what I really heard you say is two bros started off and now they have a company with 10 people and it's exploding. And it almost was like the perfect storm for you of, you know, at this time of life, exactly right now, of what's needed. And what I'm hearing you say is whatever the gift is of that consultant that we might be sharing your information, whatever their message, it's the right time right now, and not to wait too long. Go, just go. And your enthusiasm of life, number one, is infectious. It's just wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
and you're
yeah,
right.
I look forward to hearing your podcast now. It's like, oh, I can't wait. You know, it's so exciting. So yeah.
Thank you. So, but yeah, I mean, it looks, as we tell it, like we just cramped 5 years of this, right? In maybe 30 minutes. Before we started to publish was 4 years. 4 years that we tried to crack this code. And it wasn't until we started to publish continuously, right? Consistently, with a message that, you know, for us, it resonates because it's what we want to help people with. There's people in my network that don't care about content. You know, they're corporate people. They work with their stuff. They don't care about it, but they're there, right? Like they'll support, and that's okay. And it's like, sometimes we're so scared of like maybe what other people, maybe what our networks feel. But I believe that my product makes my dream client so much better. And that's why I'm on a mission to spread my message and help them, because I know that we have a wonderful team that can deliver very high quality product. I know that through our stories, we can motivate and help so many people to spread their message. I mean, what cool story is, we have a friend, and it's like, it's a charity that we help. It's called Builders, right? And she started with like nothing, just her, and she helps, and they feed people in Venezuela, in our home country, and they're based here in Florida. The second she started to spread the message, she was like so scared, right? Because it was something new. It's a nonprofit. She was just starting the nonprofit. Well, guess what? Now she doesn't only have a team in our home country, but she has a team here locally when we're going to start like helping people in our communities that have no access to food, no access to, you know, water, education, sports. This thing that she started to do by publishing through other podcasts, like that was her specific strategy, allowed her to spread her message. And now she's helping so many people. It's the hourglass effect. You know, you talk to one person. It doesn't matter if that one person is in your life, or two or three or four, right? That one person, you're going to cause an emotion in them that's going to make them turn around and help more people. And then those people are going to turn around and help more people. And it's incredible. So if you're able to repeat it every single day, keep in mind, you're the only person that listens to 100% of your message. You're the only person that listens to 100% of your message. Doesn't matter. You're going to turn around. You're going to help one person, that they're going to turn around and help more. Imagine the impact, especially your coaches. You guys are consultants. The impact that has in the world. If you're able to help an executive account, a company, imagine the effect that can have in humanity. You guys have a mission to accomplish. And I highly, highly recommend start publishing now, because consistency, we call it, is art. And you know, art means A, authority, R, relevancy, and T, trust. So people are going to trust you. They're going to see us as a figure of authority. That's going to mean more opportunities for you, more opportunities for your team. You're going to create more opportunities of employment, and it's wonderful, right? So those are just the first levels. Those are like messaging and consistency. We still have capacity and resources, but you know, we can dive into that later. I don't know if we have some questions coming in, or Bonnie, if you have any other questions.
Wow, just so much juiciness here. Let me think. Do we have any questions, Andrew? Any questions coming in? Let's see.
Here, I'm pulling up Hoover, making sure I'm in the right session. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions.
That's fine. We can continue.
I do have a question then. You know, sometimes when we're entrepreneurs and consultants, we can get so busy, like morning to night. How do you control your time and your energy? How do you manage that? Because you're a high energy guy.
I am. Keep in mind after this, I'm gonna just sit and relax for like 30 minutes because the energy level needs to rest. But it brings me back to when we were executing. You know, at the time we didn't have a team. We were executing 16, 18 hours a day, just fulfilling on clients. What's my capacity again to do that? So we got to understand first. And if you see like the publishing pyramid is from resources at the top, then it goes capacity, consistency, and messaging. So from the top down, we got to understand first what those are. We got to understand our resources. Do I have the time? Do I have the money to invest in a team, right? For my dream output. Like I want to give you our example. Our example was we were looking at people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone. We wanted to be present in every single social media 7 times a day. But my resources are not like their resources, right? They have $50,000 a month teams. Right. I could not afford that. Then after money, what's the other resource? Is time. So what is the time that I have available to creating this thing? So then I start understanding my capacity. Okay. So if we go to our phones right now, we go to the settings, we can figure out how much time we actually spend on our phones on social media. I assure you, everybody that can do this will be maybe like from 1 hour to at least 3 hours, right? Can we dedicate 10 minutes to be a producer instead of a consumer? Can we dedicate 10 minutes to create a piece of content with a very simple framework that is, let me tell a story of what happened in my business today. It could be a client or what happened in my life today. We have 2 huskies. People that listen to us, they know the names and last names of my dogs. Yes, they have last names, right? And they know all the stories because then I tell those stories and then I relate it to my business, to a lesson that I want to teach. And then from that message, and then I offer them, be like, hey guys, if you're interested, if you want to find out more, here's how you get in contact with me, right? And that's the offer. So understanding your resources, your capacity is really important. After you understand your capacity, right? Okay, my capacity is 10 minutes a day. How many times a week am I going to do that? Is it 3 times a week? Is it 5 times a week? Right? So that's the consistency. For us was every single day. That was our commitment. So make a commitment. If it's 10 minutes a day, I promise you every single one in this program has 10 minutes a day to do it. Right? And that's why we recommend Facebook Live, because it's very simple. You just record it. You don't have to edit. There's nothing around that's going to prevent you from publishing. And then after that, we got to understand our message, right? And the message is like, what is my mission? Like who do I want to help? For me, is people that believe content can be turned into profit. They already have to have that belief for me to work with them. If somebody approaches me and we actually had this funny story. We actually were in this massive event and we're sitting, we were actually speaking. So we share a similar message. And we're standing on the table and somebody comes and is like, hey, I want to work with you. I'm like, sweet. Do you have a podcast or do you have a long form content? And he's like, no. Okay. Thank you for your interest, but I am not able to work with you. And he's like, no, but convince me. And I'm like, no, I'm in a position where I don't need to convince you, right? Because I want to work with people that want my solution, not that they need it. And then I'm trying to convince them because that's just going to cause friction. The message does that for you for free on social media, right? If you want to start investing ads in that, that's going to just get you more reach. And there's different things that we can talk about. Your message filters that. So people that don't believe in content, they're not going to watch my content, right? They're not going to be like, well, if I don't believe it, and then I don't need to convince them. But people that do find it and find it very useful, and they're going to be like, man, I'm increasing again. Consistency is art. Through my consistency, I'm building my authority, right? My rapport, my trust, my relevancy. And they're going to be like, Luis, I already believe in content. I already believe that content is profit. You're solving my time issue, which is my very specific problem that I solve. Can we work together? And then it's just a matter of figuring out how we work together. So that's my specific example. For you guys, what's your message, right? Who are you helping? Who's your dream customer? What are those issues? And through your messaging, then you can start executing from the bottom up, right? You understood everything from the top to bottom. Now we can execute from messaging, test your message, see what works, what resonates. My consistency, 10 minutes a day. Can we do that? Sweet. Then my capacity, right? Understanding, well, now I have more time because I was able to hire somebody to handle certain things. Now I have more time. Now we can increase our capacity. And then after that, it's like resources and scaling the content like crazy. So that's the publishing pyramid. Hopefully that was helpful.
It's fabulous. What caught my ear in this last couple minutes is the $1 million that you just made people if they heard this, which is moving from being like a consumer and a user to a producer consistently, even in small increments, but done consistently, can take them from just an average business person to like a highly successful, busy person, where what you also said is you get to choose your clients now. Yes, I'll work with you. Yes. And they're frictionless. I love that frictionless sales. It's just make it of ease. You've made
Yeah.
their life easier if they hear even those 2 points of your amazing conversation here, sharing your story. And Andrew will be putting your offer out, and I hope everyone takes the time to listen to you, Luis, on your podcast, the Biz Brothers. That's so cute. And learn, because we have a lot to learn from you. You're young,
Thank you.
you're energetic, and you know what? There's no stopping you.
Thank you, Bunny. I appreciate it. I
We-
do see a Q&A. Do we have time for answering the question that came in?
Yes, go for it. There's
So
one Q&A there. How has the support of your family helped you keep your business afloat?
good question. So support of the family has been massive, especially because
And
I do
especially in
have,
these times of COVID. Yeah.
yeah. So, to the point where before COVID, and I'm going to be fully transparent, right? The revenue that we had was enough to pay for some of the processes that we had and one of the paychecks between me and my brother, right? So, before we dove into the coaching program, I made a big decision. I was working a full-time job until September last year. And I made a big decision of going out of that job because it was very time consuming. It was like messing me up mentally as far as to execute for my own business. It was not a good position to be at. And I decided to make the decision to go out, get a personal loan to finance my next 8 months, right? So a lot of people are like, Luis, you are insane. Like, why would you do that, by the way? So for me, it was a lot of money at the time, but it was necessary so I could dedicate full time on this. So I had that kind of like safety net, but at the same time, I put myself in a position where I had to execute. I had to make that happen. I understood the way that I work, and I had to do that. Now, for my wife, that was not very simple to do because she is one of those persons that is like a planner and everything has to do like along the way. And I go with the flow and we execute. And if it doesn't happen, it's okay. What can we learn? Let's move forward. She had a really hard time, but we communicated with her and the family, and we agree. We made an agreement. We're like, hey, if this doesn't happen in X amount of time, this is my commitment to you, and we're gonna figure it out, right? This is the solution that we're doing. So communication, key, massive, huge support. And to me, I had a level of responsibility now because he was not just my wife, but my kid, and we had to make it happen. So we're like, we have to execute. We got to provide value. That's why maybe I am so passionate about this, because it worked. And I don't see in our market when people kind of get into the content creation and transformative and growth. I don't see it that often, right? And I don't see it maybe because they haven't seen the results there, or maybe because they don't believe in their product how they should be believing. So it's really scary to share your message out. I was that person at the beginning. If somebody would have asked me, should you start a podcast? I would have been like, I have no idea, right? Because I didn't have a podcast back then. Now I do. 90 episodes in, beautiful relationships that we've been able to build, agency relationships, clients coming like from the podcast, from the guests that are coming to the show. I know it. I've seen it. And that's why I'm so passionate. And that passion translates into my family, and they see that. And then they're like, I believe you. Let's go. It doesn't matter. Here's the contingency plan, right? I have no contingency plan. My wife does, but that makes it feel a little bit better.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you so very much for your time. We look forward to hearing more podcasts and more from you. And again, don't miss this offer from Luis Cameo with his 45 live story and Publishing Pyramid. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bunny.
All right, I'm gonna move Luis. I'm gonna stop recording here.